Both Bitcoin and the broader crypto ecosystem have been working through a bullish accumulation phase. After that impulse, we're now seeing a correction that brings us to a pivotal moment. In this video, I'm going to explain why it matters that the entire crypto market is doing essentially the same thing, each asset within its own structure. So how do we approach this? Let's break it down. Financial markets, broadly speaking, are in a period of strength. Just look at the flagship US index, the SP 500, sitting at all-time highs, even printing a massive gap. The Nasdaq shows the same picture, record highs with what I'd call a historic gap. And on the 4-hour time frame, the Dow Jones is also signaling new all-time highs following a bullish reaccumulation we'd been tracking for weeks. Equities are decisively bullish, gold is strong, and, as we'll see, Bitcoin and crypto are as well. Special mention to the latest bullish bursts in Ethereum, Solana, and BNB. Let's start with Bitcoin, and let's stay focused. This is Bitcoin's daily chart. To me, it echoes the SP 500 in gold, assets where demand is clearly in control. Markets overall look solid, and Bitcoin is also benefiting from institutional participation, with all that implies. If we talk spot, I'd argue Bitcoin should be in a long-term portfolio. Yes, it will fluctuate, but the backdrop remains positive. Of course, timing matters. There are better and worse moments to build long-term exposure. So what's Bitcoin's current context? We've come off a bullish impulse, and price has been continuing within an ascending channel. Recently, we tapped the lower boundary of that channel. Zooming into the 4-hour time frame, we can see a bullish accumulation process that collided with a key macro structure. The landing took the form of a bearish impulse followed by a channel, then a range, and finally a bearish climactic action back into that critical structure, exactly where we had been studying signs of institutional accumulation. That accumulation has now broken the creek with conviction. To lay out what we expect next for Bitcoin, it's essential to look at a few other assets so you can see how the entire crypto ecosystem is doing essentially the same thing, but each asset with its own structure. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum has just had a big bullish run on this 4-hour time frame. Instead of the defensive zone, we had been studying this structure, which time eventually confirmed for us. Just like with Bitcoin, we were anticipating a bullish accumulation phase, and when we saw this candle, we were strongly drawn to the bullish idea for this asset. After witnessing that huge bullish rally, price is now coming back to test the structure. Here, we'll be watching carefully to see if they want to shake things up a bit more, grab some liquidity, maybe trigger a failed replica before making a proper move that mirrors the initial impulse and heads upward. But as you can see, we remain optimistic about the crypto ecosystem today. And we started with Ethereum. If we analyze XRP, it's amazing how XRP looks right now. I can't say this enough. It's an asset worth keeping a very close eye on. We just saw a major and meaningful breakout, a true black swan event, where price had repeatedly failed to even get near the origin of that breakout. This shows incredible strength from the strong hands in the market, and it leads us to believe that as long as we don't see a loss of key structures on XRP, we must stay optimistic about this asset. If we say we've just come from a bullish accumulation phase that broke its creek, look at how decisively it did so. After that breakout, price came back with a clean, surgical test right to the origin of the breakout. Now we can say that as long as that structure holds, at worst we might get a false breakdown, a liquidity grab, but then it's time to go higher. Either way, we remain bullish. And now I'll explain what we think we can do with Solana, BNB, and other assets that look very interesting. And of course, we'll share our exact thoughts on Bitcoin, but first,
welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity.
the Solana chart is spectacular. Honestly, it's one of the assets you must keep a very close eye on in the crypto ecosystem. Look at its 4-hour time frame. There are some swings, but you can clearly see the strong bullish trend that Solana is taking. That said, we are coming from a risky situation of bullish climactic action. That's just the reality. That's how it looks. And for that reason, while we believe we should continue being optimistic and bullish on crypto as a whole, we are also seeing some danger signs. The asset has recently picked up speed, driven by extreme momentum, which leads us to be a bit more cautious with this one. So how do we do that? On Solana's 4-hour chart, what we're going to demand from this asset is that it regains this defense zone. If this zone is respected and holds, that would allow us to stay optimistic about this asset. But first, it's essential that price actually breaks above this structure. We're not going to assume it will. If it happens, then we can be positive on Solana. It's a way of giving continuation to an asset that honestly looks a little scary right now.
Now let's talk about BNB, which is in a very similar context, except that BNB already
already reclaimed the zone earlier, created a fake out, as you can see, and basically did its homework, something that Solana is still lagging on a bit. We need to understand that these are different assets, each with their own story, but as you can see, if price attacks that defense zone again and fails to break it, what more do we need to feel bullish on BNB? Is it easy for this to happen? Clearly not, nothing is guaranteed, but if after reclaiming the zone, we see it being tested again, maybe with a small fake out, and it still holds, then the probability is for continuation with strength. We remain bullish on the crypto ecosystem for now. As of the recording of this video, we don't see anything that tells us we should be negative on these assets. Of course, if crypto starts losing key structures, that would change the picture completely, and we would call it as it is. But today, we don't see a reason to turn bearish. And speaking of Chainlink, we have to remember its context. We had a strong bearish impulse, that's our W, then a weak Y, and now a Z. We're talking about complex corrective patterns here. This Z was formed as a wedge. It broke, went to test its limit, and that limit was its own trend line, which was not broken. We also saw very clear selling weakness, leaving a gap right on the structure. I know for people watching one of these videos for the first time, you might be thinking, this guy is speaking Chinese. What is he even saying about complex corrective patterns, Z trend lines, and weakness gaps? Well, it's just a matter of time. If you keep watching Crypto Insights videos, you'll end up understanding our analysis really well. And that's when you'll see that we work with advanced technical analysis that you won't find on other YouTube channels. That's just how it is. We follow a vision and a discipline that isn't the typical pre-packaged standard of analysis like smart money concepts and all those other methodologies. You know what those pre-packaged methods are to me? They're the fast food of trading, something almost everyone likes, cheap, and quickly served. But does that mean it's good and high quality? I think you already know the answer. That's why, if all of this feels very complicated right now, that's completely normal. You're looking at a technical analysis that isn't simple, it's very unique, and it explains things you wouldn't be able to see from other perspectives. So I'm telling you, be patient. There are many people who discovered our channel, didn't understand a thing at first, kept watching our videos, and now they write to us saying, hey, at the beginning I didn't get anything, and now I understand it all. So don't give up, just keep watching. Now about Chainlink. After speaking Chinese about what's happening here, let me tell you this. A huge part of the Crypto Insight community fully understands everything I just said and what it means. To summarize, all of this points to a bullish bias for the asset. We will always prioritize continuation rather than assuming a wedge breakdown from a Z pattern will succeed. For now, hold on to that positive sentiment. We're seeing an accumulation process that has already broken out, and now price is performing a test of the breakout's origin. That origin is basically the creek, the trend line institutions love to revisit before continuing in the same direction as the accumulation breakout. So as long as price doesn't lose this level, at worst, we may get a small scare, a liquidity grab, but if we hold here, we're at a key level to continue higher. Now let's talk about SUI, which I find very interesting. And before we move on to Bitcoin, notice this. In previous videos, we had been tracking this alpha angle. Honestly, I expected price to break here and just take off, but what we saw is that it tapped the level, respected it, and then corrected. That made me say, okay, let's project the same angle on this structure we want to see break. Let's check its lower boundary and its median line. And that's exactly what we found. The same alpha angle fits. Basically, what this tells us is that we're doing a solid job of mapping structures because everything aligns. What I'm focused on right now is whether SUI wants to do the classic test or double test of the median line before breaking the structure. This is a very common event, and it's what we're going to keep studying. If we see that median line hold, we can expect bullish continuation in SUI. As you can see, we're witnessing the same type of event everywhere. What exactly are we seeing? All the major cryptos are now reacting at key levels. This doesn't mean the market is automatically bullish, but it is bouncing off important zones. In other words, we might be at a potential market extreme. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin. As I mentioned at the start of the video, we are currently reacting from the base of a macro bullish channel. This is a level we had been watching, and we also noted that price had been going through a bullish accumulation process. We broke its creek, and now what we want to see is whether price decides to go straight up or come back for a test. One possible scenario is that the market is so eager to go higher that it doesn't even allow a proper retest of the breakout origin before taking off. This is a completely valid scenario. You can see it drawn right here, and it could absolutely play out. If momentum is what they want, they might just decide not to drop, not to give retail traders the chance to get in on the cheap. That's an option too, to simply not give that opportunity. In that case, they would absolutely defend the zone, maybe even create a small fake out, a little trap. If that happens, it would mean bullish momentum remains very strong. So keep a close eye on this defense zone. The market will decide whether to hold it and keep it intact or break it to go test the creek, the origin of the breakout. Both scenarios are valid, and both ultimately project a continuation of the bullish trend across the crypto market. And if you'd like to know exactly how we at Crypto Insight look for trading opportunities,
I want to introduce you to our private Telegram channel, which is completely free. In fact, at the time of recording this video, we're also live streaming for the community. During these live sessions, we look for trading opportunities in the futures market. We focus on intraday trades, and within this community, members also share their operational ideas, what they're working on, and what they're looking for in the markets at any given moment. It's honestly very interesting. This community is constantly learning and improving. So if you're an active trader and tired of trading alone, you can join our community. It's very simple. The requirements are as follows. You need to be a user of BitUnix or BuyDFI, have deposited cryptocurrencies into your BitUnix or BuyDFI accounts with a minimum value of $100.00, and use this account as your primary futures trading account. In other words, you need to be actively trading. Once you've met these requirements, simply fill out the form displayed on the screen. It consists of just 5 simple questions, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'm leaving you the BitUnix promo details and the Crypto Insight Premium Access form in the description and pinned comment of this video.
if you found today's advanced technical analysis interesting, or if you'd like to share your opinion about the financial markets and their direction, I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to support this channel, hit the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so YouTube lets you know when we publish future videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.